Hi, Apartment Therapy. My name's Adnan. Welcome to my 700 square foot apartment in New York City. I just decorated for Christmas. Come on in. I'm an interior designer. I've lived in New York since 2017. I mean, it's just the biggest, best city in the US. I love the energy, the mix of people from all over the world, the grit mixed with the glamour. It's just a wonderful place to live. I actually feel my style and my point of view has been consistent, but it's been like refined and pushed because I feel here you see the best of everything in so many ways, and there's always someone who's smarter, has a better eye, more talented, has more money, etc. And there's something to learn from all of them. And I think that has made me better as an interior designer and as a person, even though there's always a lot of room to grow. I have had a long journey with Christmas trees. I didn't have a Christmas tree growing up, and it was something I really wanted. But I was raised Muslim, and my grandparents were very strict about that. The second I was in college and making money of my own, I bought a tree off a sorority girl who was graduating that was fake and just set it up in my parents' entry. Because of that, I feel that I developed my Christmas style on my own terms, and it's an extension of my personal style. And a lot of it is learning by doing, because I don't know how to set up a tree perfectly. I would say my tree is mainly composed of sort of classic glass European style ornaments combined with a lot of handicraft from around the world. I have these Kashmiri paper mache balls, which are a reflection of my heritage and my love of handicraft. And those crystals that you see on chandeliers, which I've pulled off of chandeliers that have been thrown away in the trash. I've bought them at flea markets, and they're practically free, especially if they're mismatched. And I just throw them on a ornament hanger, and they add a wonderful glimmer to the tree. I also throw in dried oranges. It's so easy. All you do is slice them up thin, throw them on a tray at 200 degrees or 180 degrees for a few hours, and then you're done. And I use some red ribbon to lace through those and hang them on my tree. And they're a nice thing to tie on presents. I'll be honest, I'm one of the worst gift wrappers around. But in terms of my sensibility, I tend to prefer more simple, solid paper. I think it's so simple and elegant, and also are things that you can use at other times of the year, so you're not just burning them all up on Christmas decoration and then being wasteful. I think having that mix of the traditional with the found, with the bohemian and worldly, is very true to how I decorate outside of Christmas time as well. Buy as much red ribbon as you can. I hang red ribbon from my chandeliers. I tie it around candlesticks. I use it to hang my wreaths. And again, it takes up no space. It might seem weird to use a wreath to block art, but I actually love hanging it this way because you see the face peeking through and it already has a halo on it. So the wreath almost extends it in a tongue-in-cheek way. Tongue-in-cheek, you could say. Welcome to my kitchen, which is also my entry. It is small but mighty. I actually get a lot of mileage out of it because I love to cook. The biggest hack I did to transform the kitchen was covering the hideous birch cabinets in black contact paper to make it feel more like a bar instead of a small kitchen. And then I bought this real brass hardware off this estate in Boston on eBay for like 20 bucks. And I thought the black plus brass really elevated it. I also really utilize the space above my kitchen cabinets. That's where I put some of my favorite glassware, my entertaining stuff. It's actually where I keep my bar. At my height, it's actually more comfortable to reach up than it is to reach down into a conventional bar cart. The place I have it is right when you walk in, so it's the first thing you see, and you know, oh, I'm walking into a fun house. My favorite drinks to make are classic margarita or a gin martini. I try to find unique items to fulfill the everyday needs of cooking. I have this kettle that won a design competition in Portugal in the 70s, which I think is such a sculptural first impression and also practical. And instead of a typical olive wood pepper grinder, I found this one that's shaped like a little man with a crown, and I think it's just adorable. It brings me so much joy to have special fun things to do everyday tasks with. In this apartment, I wanted to just go all in on being surrounded by the things that I love, even if it is kind of sensory overload at times. The Baker chair and ottoman set I found on Cherish, and I covered it in Augustin and Daniela orange linen. It's a wonderful place to read from, and Cody loves it too. I have a lot of English furniture. Part of it is I was a British history major in college, so visually the culture really speaks to me. The Paul McCobb armchair I found, I think that was either Cherish or Facebook Marketplace, I actually forget. But the chenille that's on it is from Etsy, and it's kind of animal print with a lowercase a. I didn't want to go full on cheetah because I already had a zebra hide on the floor and I was pretty attached to that. And then I added bouillon fringe to it in black and these little satin buttons that you can't see to give it a little panache. But that is my favorite sort of chair to sit in and watch TV, and Cody loves it too. It was a good decision. The couch was custom made for me by a workroom in North Carolina. I covered it in a very simple white denim, like dirt cheap fabric, which washes like a pair of jeans and gets comfier and comfier with age. Functionally, for Cody, it made it a lot easier to clean because it can just get sent out with my laundry and it comes back in a few days, bright as new. But it also allowed me to get storage underneath the sofa, which is why I'm a big fan of skirted sofas. This apartment had this weird bump out where I think there would have been a fireplace originally, but it was taken out at some point. I couldn't make sense of what to do with it. And then I realized I just needed to make it a fireplace again. I happened to find a mantle on eBay locally that someone brought in an Uber that was just the right size. I ended up doing kind of a DIY, which is rare for me because I have great ideas, but I'm not good at sitting down and craftily to do them well. I found these sort of faux mirror, distorted, funhousey tiles that kind of look antique-y on eBay, and then I applied them to those trifold poster boards that you used in elementary school for projects and slid them behind it. The biggest reason I put the fireplace in was actually for Santa, because I wanted to make things easy for him. I wanted a dining table that fit 6 or 8, and I realized that in order to accommodate that, I would have needed to majorly sacrifice the seating area. So that was a tricky conundrum, and I ended up deprioritizing dining and deciding that, you know what, I'll just do a table for 4. I'm having my friend and her parents over for dinner tonight, so I set up a little bar for French 75s with some gin and champagne, and I'm using these cool Italian glasses that I bought in Lenox. The appetizers with it are the marinated olives that I make almost every year, and some candied rosemary nuts. I actually stole this recipe from one of my mom's best friends. It's just a crap ton of butter and rosemary. Here we are in my bedroom, which is very cozy, and the 4-poster bed really doubles down on that in the best cocooning way. So when I saw this mirror at auction, I had to have it. I used to have a different mirror up here, and I actually ended up getting this for free because it was slightly damaged in transit, and UPS accepted the claim and fully refunded it. And I'm thinking about painting it white to make it look like those plaster relics at museums, but for now, I'm letting it be this buttery yellow color, which it came in. In terms of the bedding, here you can see the red and white embroidered border, which feels so perfect around the holidays, combined with my usual Euroshams in this Etro for Clarence House fabric. The gallery wall is the most wonderful thing to wake up to, and even though some people think they're millennial cringe, I think they're timeless and I'll never be over them. It's such a wonderful mix of art from different eras of my life, from this painting that hung in my parents' library to things that I've purchased or found on the street in the past year. I also even hang art on my doors. I think the doors are unassuming. They're sort of flat and boring, so I think it gives them some dimension, but it's also an excuse to hang your art. My biggest tip for having a happy and healthy home are taking the time to have those rituals every week that make it feel special and are just for yourself. My favorites are choosing the bed linens that will go on my bed, and I actually love them to be ironed. Making the bed and starting the week with a really crisp, beautiful setup makes you feel like the princess and the pea. I buy flowers every single week, and they're not expensive flowers. They're usually from Trader Joe's. It's definitely under $20 a week usually, except in peony season, because that is everything to me. To me, home is a way to express who you are and tell your story of your journey through life. And it's a way to share that with people who you care about, to have an oasis from the crazy world that we live in.